There are 5 questions you absolutely have to ask your next fence contractor before handing over a penny of your hard-earned money. If you stick around to the end, I'll even give you a bonus question that'll separate the goods from the greats. So, let's dig into it. This is Joe Everest, the fence expert. My family's been perfecting their way of building fence for over 60 years, 3 generations. While there's more than one way to build a fence, I'm here to share with you our way. Now, before we get into the top questions to ask a fencing contractor, we need to know which ones to call in the first place. I would start with Google or Facebook, 2 places where reviews can't be modified or altered or removed by the contractor. Now, this might not be the case with other lead generation websites, such as Angie's List or Home Advisor. Start with Google and Facebook. The first question I'm going to ask each and every fence contractor is going to be for references, but I'm actually going to take that a step further. I'd like to see 2 references of fences that were recently completed within the last 6 months, and 2 references for fences that were completed a year or more ago. It's going to do a couple things. One is going to show you the quality to expect on day 1 when they're completed, and what quality you can expect for the years to come for your next fence. The second question, and arguably the most important question, is going to be for a copy of their insurance. Now, I'm not just talking about general liability insurance. I'm more specifically and more importantly talking about workman's compensation insurance. Workman's compensation insurance covers the employees from accidents while they're working on your property. An employee that's working on your property that isn't covered by workman's compensation insurance, if they get hurt, that lawsuit could likely end up on your doorstep. The third important question is going to be timelines. Most importantly, what timeline do you expect my fence to be installed in? I'm not talking about the first part in August. I'm talking we could start the second Monday in August and complete the second Thursday in August, weather depending, of course. Also, what are the timelines of communication? After we sign a contract and I give you a deposit, what communication can I expect between that date and the date you start? Also, as a postscript here, you're going to want to be wary of contractors that don't have a book of work, meaning they could get started sooner than other contractors. If a fencing contractor can get to your project in less than, say, 2 or 3 weeks, you should probably wonder why more customers aren't putting their trust in that contractor. Now, the fourth question. It's going to be all about the money. What schedule does that contractor expect to be paid on? Now, the industry standard is to collect a deposit before scheduling the work, but the deposit should never be more than 50% of the contract's total. More importantly, though, when are the remaining payments to be due? A lot of contractors will ask for a payment upon completion, but some will ask for progress payments throughout the project. My recommendation, pay for half in the beginning and pay for half when the project is done and completed, and you're totally satisfied. Absolutely get that in writing. Another thing to get in writing, what additional charges can you expect from the contractor? A lot of contractors will start off with a smaller project price, but have provisions in their contract for what if they hit rock. I've seen contracts that include rock clauses of up to $50 per hole. On a standard project, that could add several $1,000s to your project that you don't even know to expect. Absolutely understand that up front and get it in writing. Fifth question, are the people going to be working on your project employees of the company, or are they subcontractors? Not necessarily to say there's anything wrong with subcontractors, but this does relate to the question about insurance. Often subcontractors are responsible for their own insurance, so the contractor that you're giving money to, their insurance doesn't cover the people working on your property. And also, what happens if there's a hiccup on the project? What happens if there's a callback? Is that the responsibility of the company that you have a contract with, or the contractors that they have a contract with to install their work? It gets a lot more complicated when there's subcontractors. I prefer for employees that work directly for the company to be doing your work. All right, bonus question time. This is the question, in my opinion, that separates the good contractors from the great contractors, and that is, can you locate my property corners if they're not easily visible? Now, a lot of times in new projects, the property corners are absolutely there. They're easily visible. Usually a stake with a pink flag on top. But in older properties, they might not be as easy to find. They might be missing or buried by up to a foot of dirt. So what's that contractor going to do when they can't easily find your property corners? A lot of the contracts I see in the industry say that property corners and property lines are the homeowner's responsibility. Ultimately, if you end up having to hire a surveyor to survey your property, you could be out an additional $600 to $1,000. Make sure you hire a contractor that can locate it themselves. And that's it. Starting with these 6 questions should make you more comfortable when hiring a fence contractor and placing your trust and your biggest investment in their hands. If you find this content helpful, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to hit the notification button so that you get notified when we have new content uploaded weekly.